Hey there, I'm Harley, this is Andrew. We're two strategists here at Rival Mind. Today we're going to talk about one of our favorite subjects. It's a sweet tool that allows you to see a lot of insights about your website and the way Google views your website on the internet, and that's Google Search Console. Andrew, we've got three main topics we want to cover today in regards to Google Search Console. Can you open us up?
Yeah, thanks Harley. What we're going to be talking about is three kind of buckets of what is Search Console, how is it different than Google Analytics, and then are you using it properly? And not necessarily in that order. We'll start with kind of about what is it, how does it differ from some of Google Analytics, Google's other tools like Analytics. We'll get into a little bit about, do I need it for my business? And then lastly, are you using it? So as you know, I know you've been using Search Console for a little bit of a, kind of through the years. That in 2015, formerly known as Webmaster Tools, now Search Console. So ultimately what Search Console is, it is a free tool that Google offers to kind of have a window into how Google is crawling and indexing your site. So that's a little bit of jargon there, but ultimately how is Google viewing your website?
Right.
And then it helps you troubleshoot any issues.
Absolutely.
So Harley, kind of getting started, how is Google Search Console different than Google Analytics? And I know they integrate together, so that's partly why it gets a little confusing. But what's different about the two?
Yeah, so Google Search Console can be verified on your website in a whole host of different ways. We won't get into that in this video, but essentially what its purpose is for you to have a direct window into how Google is viewing and interacting with your website. You can see what pages are indexed, what pages are not indexed. Maybe if there are mobile usability issues with your website that Google's detecting, hey, these two elements are too close together and it could be causing problems for mobile users. All of that kind of information is being pulled into Google Search Console, and it actually gives you some actionable intel to make changes to your website. Google Analytics is primarily the data center. Who's coming to your website? When are they doing it? How are they doing it? How long are they doing it for? And are they doing it repeatedly? And so you can use that to determine, wow, this page that I've created is very valuable for me as an asset because it's drawing a lot of people to the website. People are viewing all the different pages as a result of coming to this first page. And maybe if I'm a service-based business, they're filling out a contact form, or they're calling me through the call button, or if I'm an e-commerce store, they're purchasing something. So Google Analytics gives you all the data necessary to determine what pages on your website are becoming a profitable asset.
Yeah, that was an interesting point you brought up. Google Analytics being the one that tracks the data. What different type of data does Google Search Console give versus Analytics? And I know there's a little bit of overlap, but maybe if we just focus on what are the differences. Yeah,
absolutely. So Google Search Console is related to website issues, indexing issues. Hey, this page is not being indexed by Google, and here's why. It also gives you things like keyword data. Hey, here are all of the keyword phrases that Google is ranking your website for. And then it also gives you things like impression data, click-through data, and click-through rate data. So you can see, hey, my website, this specific page is ranked on Google for this phrase in this position. It was seen this number of times, and this is the percentage of people who saw it versus clicked on it. So that's really actionable intel to be able to understand, hey, if 10,000 people saw this website page in the last 30 days, but only 1,000 people clicked on the result, well, it could be as a result of the rank is way, way low, or potentially your title tag is not convincing, your meta description is not descriptive enough. It gives you a great host of information to troubleshoot. Google Analytics is all about on-site data, time on page, bounce rate, all of the different on-page metrics that we track to ensure that people are finding value on the various pages of the website.
Yeah, so it's similar to Google Analytics in terms of that it's tracking data over time, but it's a little bit more technical based data. So you can see actually over time those technical issues going down ideally, but it's a great insight into how to troubleshoot and fix potential issues. So that's a little bit about the difference. Now moving on to the second point, do I need Search Console for my business? Like, if I have a brand new website that technically is sound or I don't have any issues, should I still be using Search Console?
Yeah, short answer, yes. You absolutely should be using Google Search Console on your website simply for the fact that it's going to collect data over time. You may not have any issues now, or maybe if it's a brand new website, you can actually submit your XML sitemap to Google Search Console to kind of jumpstart that indexation process. But really, it's just a fantastic monitoring tool for people to be able to watch their site grow and change over time through the eyes of Google, which is really important.
So you would say Google Search Console is not just for big websites, a small business, maybe what's kind of, in kind of this category of do I need it?
Yeah.
How could a small business potentially use this even that might not have a huge site with a lot of pages? What are some things that come to mind that a small business
so I'll say this, I'll take a step back. At Rival Mind, every SEO client that we work with either gets a Google Search Console attached to their website, or we get access to it so we can interpret the data. That's super important. As far as what websites benefit best or what websites should absolutely be using it, websites with large page counts really benefit well, because you can see at a high level whether Google is indexing all or the majority of the pages on the site or not. And you can also see from a high level what pages have issues and why, or if there is a single issue that's being perpetuated through all the different pages of the site. It lets you see, a really high level overview. For smaller websites, it's a great way for you to take advantage of the analytics data on how are you performing on Google? What kind of data is your website gathering? Are you only ranking for phrases related to your brand? Well, then you definitely need to work on service or product-based credibility and rankings. But if you have done a great job of that, you can analyze the specific keyword data for the pages that you're using to rank on, and then make those pages better. Or, hey, if I'm ranking for this phrase, maybe I could duplicate my page, change the content up a little bit, and target a different phrase and get more visibility in that area. So really, my point in going through all of this is that every website can absolutely utilize it.
Yeah. So the difference between Search Console and analytics, it's a little bit different, more technical data. Two, do I need it? Absolutely, both small and large business. And then lastly, we've mentioned this a few times, that it is a free tool, and that you even use the word verified, which I know gets into a little bit about setting it up. So how do you get started? You obviously doesn't cost anything, but where do you get started to get this set up for your site?
So you can Google Search Console, and when you go to log in using a Google account, it'll say, hey, what website do you want to set this up for? Put your website in, verifying it, like we were talking about, you can do it through your DNS, your registrar. You can do it through Google Analytics. If you already have Google Analytics set up on your site, you can verify Google Search Console through Google Analytics. And then you can also add a meta tag to the site saying, hey, I prove that I have ownership of this property because I can add a specific piece of code to the back end of the site. And there are all kinds of, I know specifically for like WordPress, there are all kinds of plugins that will allow you to just go ahead and verify it really easily. So anyone can do it. It's free, it's easy to use, it's easy to set up, and the data, at least for us as an agency doing SEO, the data has changed businesses because we're able to analyze it and use it for the betterment of our clients.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the most simple questions that I think Search Console answers is when somebody says to us, I Google my website or I look for it and I really don't see it. And Google Search Console can be a really good way to get to the bottom of diagnosing that.
Yep.
I mean, even things like manual actions where Google's actually removed your site from the search results. Search Console is the tool to help, not to help, but to help diagnose that and figure out what's going on and then to get it fixed.
Yep.
So as we look at Search Console today, it's kind of the trio of the 3 free Google tools that I can't imagine anyone trying to grow their business online without. So Google Analytics, last time we talked about Google My Business, and then today Google Search Console. So all 3 tools are free. All 3 we absolutely recommend using. So if you have any questions, you can tweet us, you can message us on LinkedIn, or comment below. But we look forward to talking to you soon, and thank you for watching.